Hi, it's Pilar Kellenbarger with Collecting Our Angels, Nurturing Our Children. And I wanted to say Happy New Year. I know it is January 8th, 9th, 10th. And yes, I've been sick and I've been really trying to um, offer a Happy New Year to everyone. And it will be a wonderful year. I have been excitedly working on things while in bed for 3 weeks. On the 22nd, I came down with the influenza A and pneumonia. So I really was excited and just could not believe how I was downloaded with so many different things that I just had to share. So I put some makeup on, and the past few days I've been sorting out all the thoughts that I had. I was texting a friend, I was taking notes, and really just sitting with all my feelings. So, what I've learned is that I really have to work on a lot of things that keep coming up, the things that seem simple to us all, things with our families, things that we've lived with all our lives. So, this first part is lessons learned, love versus fear. And what I realized is I have been living the majority of my life in fear. When I was sick and I was hit with that news and I was in bed, that first few hours taking these four meds and becoming nervous and scared and fearful, it hit me with Anita Morjani. She was a friend of Wayne Dyer's, and she has written a book, I'm Dying to Be Me. And what happened was she died, went over to the other realm. She had cancer, but came back. And how I remember her saying that it wasn't that she brought it on herself, her cancer. It was her living in fear that did, and the realization of that. And oh my gosh, that was very big for me. So I wanted to share it with everybody. I know we all seem to have similar lives, and why not share what we need to know to help each other? First, like living in fear my whole life is something that I learned and dealt with laying in bed. Um, of course, getting sick initially made me sit with it, and it made me learn to practice those steps. And lastly, how I worked on all the things I wanted to work on, but that I was too fearful for. And it's amazing when you do it. So, this is what happened. I started thinking about past fears. Well, my past fears were always fearful of just a lot of things. I remember my past of my parents always fighting. The environment that I grew up in was not really true to what my heart wants to believe. And a lot of us have that. There was never any good conversations. There were always conversations of, oh, geez, Pilar's sick again. Like, why would we want that? Um, why would we want to hear that? Why would we want to say, share all that and talk that way to our daughter? Of course, living with so much negativity, the environment. Um, it was more like a survival mode. A friend of mine, we grew up on the same street, my guru, Michelle, we discussed that. If we think back, it was more survival. There was really not a lot of love there, but we as children transformed it to be. We made it look better in our minds. It was more of the survival mode and not a discovery in a loving environment. I also understand that, our parents did the best they could with what they knew. So there's no anger or to get back at anyone. It's just to let these realizations come up, feel them, and then help release them, because they'll leave. You can't just let it go. It will let you go. So that's one thing that we really need to remind ourselves. So as I'm working on this fear, there were things that I had to remember to do. I had to start letting go of these family members who are no longer serving me. Why would I want to beg and keep trying to be accepted into a group of people who don't want me in there? It's like thinking back to third grade and, oh my gosh, remember how we used to try to get in with a clique and, oh, we have to get these people to like us. Why are we doing that when we have other people who are friends who could easily step in, and they are that? I've sent texts about being sick and no family members have said anything, but my friends who are family members have. Wonderful texts and checking in on me and sending messages and some beautiful flowers there. My wonderful friend Dana, who's like a sister to me, and this beautiful basket of treats she also sent over. Just wonderful. I just got another text today from a friend, Julie, who I've known since I was 10. Hey, Chola, how you doing? And those are wonderful. And another friend, my guru, my BFF, Michelle, checking in on me. Sharon, checking in on me. Like, it's wonderful. And these are all friends, but they're my sisters. They're my heart. And that's another thing that we need to let happen. We need to let these people in our lives, let them become your family. Let them go through it. One thing that I wanted to share was something that my guru, Michelle, was texting me, and I was pulling up some old texts. Just some wonderful ideas that I wanted to share with you. She reminded me that we create our reality with our thoughts. So live in the moment and find the blessings and hold on to them. Me being upset isn't me, but their stuff, unfortunately, coming out of me. I was talking to her about how I was, being upset about, family members not really reaching out. It's kind of hurtful, but, these are the things we have to do to get over these things. Don't let others steal your joy or ruin the time now. It was really hard because my daughters, who I haven't seen in since May, and they did come home last Christmas, I didn't see them, and they came home on the 20th, and then I got sick on the 22nd. So I had to stay in bed for a few days come back down here with a mask, sit on the chair over there. Where is it? It's over there. And, kind of just be in their presence for like an hour. We actually did play a game, but that was so hard. But that was something that I had to deal with. My fear of not being wanted, all these different fears were coming up. My fear of not being able to do things, my fear of existence, and my fear of not being accepted and abandoned. Well, that's what was happening. That's happened to me my whole life, and I've kept trying to grab on and hold on, where now I have to realize, you're okay. You're going to be okay. Like I was saying to myself, I have to stop begging to be accepted into these groups. I'm going to be okay. I don't need these groups that don't want me. And I just have to remember that. When I was being sick and abandoned again by my mom, I have to be like, hey, I need to start setting my boundaries. Okay, that's how it is. That's fine. The universe saying, if it was saying it for what it is, feel it, let it come out, and then hopefully it will release. But remember, we can't just let things go. We have to let them release us. And again, family here not asking about me. Well, then I can count over 10 people who did. So that is something that I need to hold true and dear. So a lot of us have that. We have these family members that are not acting like family and not the way we thought. So it's time for us to take a good hard look at them and let them go. Put those other wonderful friends in their place. That's why they're there. That's why they're being sent to you. And that's so big that I realized this being sick since the 22nd of December. I realized, wow, I have been stuck in this spot of when are these people going to love me? Well, they might not, Pilar. And look around you. You have these other hands reaching out to you. You have these other people with these wonderful hearts full of love for you. So accept those and replace them. And that's what I've done. It is hard. And it's like a divorce. You are divorcing from these people. But it will help you in the long run. You're going to feel pain. It's not easy. People say, oh yeah, just cut them loose. It's not that easy. Think about it. Think of all the wonderful memories. Release them in love. And then move on. It will come back. It's hard. You have all these old memories and feelings. But practice it and it will work out. Something else that I was thinking about is how, as I realized that my job during my sickness was to feel and think about the pain of my fears from all my life was my job. That was my job laying there for 3 weeks. Well, 2 weeks, been 3 weeks now. And just to sit there and sit in it. And all those fears, let them come up. Why did I fear this? Why did I fear that? There really is, I don't need to fear anything. And when you really sit with it, it's amazing how you can feel them leave. Like I said, I felt it. I cried it out. I would release it. Because that was my job being sick. That's why I was saying earlier, it aligned with Anita Moorjani because she felt the same way when she was ill and she felt that it was her fears and how she lived with them. So I did realize the illness happened for these lessons to be seen. But the most important thing is my power is back. It's amazing having my power back. So this was one of the questions that came to me. Pilar, how many times do you need to be ignored by people? Don't let the anger of it lash back. However, look at the anger that comes from abandonment. If we think of these emotions and not the situation of these people who are like dressing up in characters for us to deal with these things. The abandonment comes from our childhood and maybe in our 20s and as we were growing, it may be in our marriage, in-laws, all of that. We have to learn, well, what do we mean by abandonment? How do we feel during it? And then reach out to yourself and be loving because that's what you need. You need to love yourself for being upset, for feeling abandoned. It was a really amazing things. I hope that this is clicking with you. Like I was saying, these other people are dressed up as that character to make it for others to see it. I see it. I want love and not fear, so I send love to them, to the people who have been abandoning me. And then I have to thank them for the lesson and move on. And that's what I'm going to do. The amazing thing with this whole characters dress up for you to learn certain situations. And I saw it happen in front of me, but then I saw it happen with a person who I was having a problem with, and it was happening to them. So others dressing up as characters. My mother-in-law mentioned to my husband that a niece just found out that an uncle passed in July, and she could not believe it and how horrified she was that they put this in a Christmas card. And well, that's how I found out how my father died. I found out hours later, and it wasn't with a phone call. It was someone texted me. So the fact that I always had this with her, how are you not reaching out to me? It's been 3 years now. In March, never reached out to me. But I had to learn to, well, I don't need that from her. But now I see her talking about how horrified it is for her. And so now that's happening to her. Others are dressing up in characters for her to learn that for herself. So being in the back, like, wow, that is so neat. Like, it really is. That's what it's about, is just learning these lessons. It's about learning the lessons. It's just amazing. It isn't just me trying to pass these lessons on. I wanted to just go over the things that I felt for this part 1 of love versus fear. The lessons I learned were to acknowledge your fears and know why and how you lived with this fear. Think back. Let it bubble up. Don't relive it. Just remember what some of the circumstances were. And then release it. Ask it to leave. I see it. Thank you for teaching me. And then let it go. I learned about self-love, how important it is for me to do all this. And what it entails. Self-love isn't throwing makeup on and trying to do something with this crazy hair that I've had in bed for 3 months, 3 weeks. It's about doing the work like this, sitting with the feelings, not pushing them down, not working, giving myself time to rest, and constantly putting into me the things that are positive that will help me with my healing. I need to stop begging to be accepted. Geez, how many of us have to do that? I really need to stop. It's like, Pilar, stop. I need to stop begging to be accepted in a place that's not for me. And I'll be okay not in that group, and I know that now. Breathe again. Oh my goodness. The pneumonia with the asthma. I've also learned how to take my life back by breathing, but breathing my way, taking my power back, setting my boundaries, putting me first, no longer being the one picked last. I'm first in my life. Resting is what my body needs. Understanding that just lying here to get better, and what my mind and heart needed, that's what they needed. The importance of filling my mind and heart with positive thoughts, filling my body with good things like tea and water and soup and smoothies and just all the good things in life, ginger and garlic in my soup. It's been wonderful. And also to take in, accept all good, positive energy for healing. So the one thing I want you to take with you also is, if you do fall into this, being sick, and then you realize, oh, I need to learn some things here. The great thing that I learned that I'm so proud of is that I never thought getting sick was my fault, or that I did something to deserve this. Where the Pilar from years ago, oh, that would have been my first thing. What did I do to deserve this? Would have been my first thought. And oh my gosh, I did something to deserve this. We don't do anything to deserve anything like this. And it really has been a gift. Yes, things were different for my Christmas. I only spent a few hours here and there. But it was also a gift to see my family noticed how much I do on Christmas. And then they asked for my recipes. I got to walk people through how I cooked the stuffing, and they were like, "Oh, it didn't really come out like yours, Mom," but I could taste the love in it. It was wonderful. And I know my one daughter does not like to play board games, and I came down, put my mask on, and she played a board game. Like, it was wonderful. We had a wonderful time, but I wanted you to know that when you do get sick, it could be coming from all the time that you've lived in fear. And if that's the case, it's time to deal with it. It's time for you to put you first. So I'm going to do part 2 and 3. Not sure when. I'm trying to think about doing one maybe then tomorrow and then the next day, but it could be very well be tomorrow and Monday, or Sunday and Tuesday. So just pushing through all this, breathing, but I'm in so much enjoying all the things that are coming to me to share with you, because I'm not the only one who gets sick. I'm not the only one living in fear of things. I'm not the only one realizing these things. So I wanted to share them with you. So this was part 1. Part 2 will be about the connection with fear and what we learn. And last, part 3 will be more about how we take our passion and look for the signs in our lives with work. Let's just not go through the motions. Let's do things that connect with us. So thank you very much for listening. I hope some of this helped. And I'm sorry Happy New Year to you. 2020 is so late, but I'm here and I'm really excited for this new year and to do more things with this. I will also post, I actually have a chapter of Love versus Fear from my parenting book. You can find it on Wattpad for free, and the title is Parenting Scholar Athletes. And I will also put it down here so that you can click on it. Again, it will be under my name, Pilar Kellenbarger, as well. So from me, Collecting Our Angels Children, I hope you have a wonderful weekend coming up and a very happy new year. I'll see you for part 2 in a few days.